There was a Like, oh, Well, that's great. That sounds like a well, so, how about you?
All right, we're going to get started here in just a minute. If y'all want to find a seat, get a soda. We'll get started in just a minute. If y'all want to go ahead and take a seat, we got about 10 seconds. All right, cool. Thanks for coming, everybody, and facing the weather. Nice to see it held up to Texas tradition and stopped 5 minutes after it was the worst storm we've seen. But thanks for coming out. We have a pretty cool lineup tonight. We wanted to cover some tools that are and some best tips and practices for mixed reality. Dario from HTC is here tonight and is an expert in this field. So awesome that he's here to show us, and he's got some stuff to talk about on kind of the history of what's brought us here to this tech. We have JJ from You Already going to present a little bit about what they've been doing lately. They've been really pushing hard to get a lot of things set up. Capital Factory, thank you so much. Those of you from Capital Factory who are here, this is definitely the coolest spot in Austin to have meetups, and definitely the best spot where we can basically get some technical messaging back to the group, as well as have a really cool networking event. So really cool. Capital Factory is doing their thing with on the 5th floor. They have a virtual reality lab where you can check it out, and your team can go in there and demo a bunch of stuff. They have multiple Vives, multiple Rifts with touch, multiple PSVRs. They have the Omni treadmills, which is like an omnidirectional treadmill. All kinds of stuff. HoloLens, Gear VRs, cardboards. I'm sure they got some cardboards in there. And an Apple II. They have an Apple II over there. So if you're feeling space age, jump on that thing. It's missing a few keys, but which Apple II isn't, you know? It's a really cool space. They have been pushing hard to build out this first floor space as a VR co-working space. They also have the VR Village, they're coining it as, which is the other wing on that side of the elevators, which has a bunch of local studios that are doing virtual reality. View Already is also in there, as well as a handful of others. So it's pretty cool. So if you're doing VR and you want to foot in this space, it's a great place to meet people, a great place to get some professional contacts and stuff, and it's been great for biz dev for us as well. So feel free to reach out and hit up Capital Factory. They'll give you a tour of the space and give you like a free co-working day that you can come here and bring your team and stuff and get a feel for the place and see if it's the right kind of mood for you. I mean, they have free beer on tap, ice brewed coffee on tap, free food every day, snacks in the common areas all the time. So that alone is enough to, I think I can make my money back just on snacks. So some things cool coming up. Austin Game Development Conference. It's going to be pretty cool. Austin, September 21st and 22nd. Call for speakers is still live. I run the AR VR track on that, and I've purposefully tried to keep 3 slots open. It looks like we're just about full with one more panel, so I have really a few more slots open that I'm looking to fill those panels up with. So if you are, or if you know a really talented speaker or somebody that's worked on a really cool game that you'd like to see speak at that conference, please tell them to get on there, sign up, because this is probably, by the end of this month, it's going to be full of speakers and it'll be done. So it's a pretty cool opportunity. And last year we had 800 and something people, and a lot of people from Valve and Oculus and HTC came, and a lot of people said it was like their favorite conference they'd ever been to, which is cool because it was a small conference, but it had a really cool in-between session kind of atmosphere. And so this year we've really pushed that to where we've made 30 minutes in between every session, so that, because a lot of the times when you're at these tech conferences, the best part of the tech conferences are the conversations you had in between sessions. And so we wanted to kind of promote that by setting up some cool stuff that's in between the sessions to get people kind of out in the hall and then meet each other and then get back into the spaces that they want to meet or that they want to see. So it's going to be pretty cool. Of course, as Austin is, there will be live music and a live performance in the Wave VR. So it's going to be pretty sweet. Those of you who did come last week, we get a show of hands. Who came last week for the Austin Game Dev Showcase? Only this many. Well, there was a crazy party in this space and out in the foyer on Sunday. It was awesome. We had about 600 people show up. 32 local studios came and demoed their titles, and we gave away like $12,000 worth of prizes, and it was pretty cool. Do we have any winners of the prizes here? We got one of them. We got almost all the winners of all the $2,500 video cards and and game keys and just all kinds of stuff. So Austin's definitely prolific in the local development scene. So if you want to be more involved in this or have your game showcased, or maybe you know somebody that has, that's working on something that you think should get out there and get showcased, just mention it in the groups. Mention it on the North Austin game night. Is Dan here? Dan here? He was here a minute ago. There's a North Austin game night, which is basically just a showcase that meets every month, and they're doing it on the 13th. So next Tuesday, there's a really cool event where it's just kind of the monthly game developer showcase, where they showcase a bunch of games and drink and have a good time. So jump into that. So we have we're pleased to check out some of JJ's stuff. JJ, if you want to come up. JJ's the owner of View Already, and I'll let you hook up real quick as I introduce you. I've known JJ for a while. He was at Rooster Teeth, did a lot of video. He's kind of a video wizard and post guy and just kind of camera guy and extraordinaire. But we met as the VR scene was kind of growing in Austin, and he's been doing some pretty strong efforts on building some content and making cool stuff. So there you go, JJ.
Thanks, Finn. Thanks, you guys, for putting this on, and Dario for being here. So, Dario is going to come up here in a second and blow your mind with where mixed reality and what HTC is now. I'm going to take you on a short little journey on how we got there. And it's kind of like the evolution of dance, but not nearly as cool. So let's see here. First we have to give some props to the guys from Fantastic Contraption for doing one of the first, if not the first, cool mixed reality video. That made me and my friend Fox Bukele, who works over at Alchemy now, we had a baseball game at the time, and so it was a week after they showed off theirs, we set up kind of a smaller version of it in our living room, and we're trying it out with our baseball game, and as you can see, so the bat and the ball and everything is overlaid. And this was really exciting for me because I came from Rooster Teeth and I came from working in production and working with cameras. So when I started working in VR, to see this kind of start to merge with VR, I got excited about playing with cameras again and using the OBS technology and trying some stuff out. So as you can see, this is really rough, really early. We kind of eyeballed the field of view, and we were just at this point using controllers. It was before obviously the trackers existed. So we just had a third controller, which we had on a really long extension for a USB. We ended up doing a way fancier version using a Red camera for our commercial. And this was actually over at Originator Studios. I think Derek is over here. So as you can see, it's a lot fancier, but this was still really early. He's got some dancing from Spencer there. So yeah, so that was still really super early, and a lot of that, especially the foreground, background stuff, was all done using After Effects. So when mixed reality was early, either you had the overlay showing, or you had to know After Effects and be a pretty kind of advanced editor to clean out and paint out all that stuff. I know that's how the first Fantastic Contraption videos used loads and loads of After Effects, and I think one of the first Alchemy Job Simulator trailers, they were using After Effects a little bit on that as well. So it's been really interesting to see what kind of has come since then. This is what the guys that did Hover Junkers, and they have a YouTube series do. The big thing to see or notice in this is the foreground and background. It's live, and you're able to see the sparks and the arrows shooting by him. So it really kind of shows the advancement of where we've gotten in a little less than a year. This is Lady Gaga. Now this is just my way of showing you what versions of mixed reality kind of approaches that you're seeing outside of gaming. So this was a live performance, and they were able to overlap these things with her performance where she was moving. Obviously there was a lot of preparation for that. I went to the wrong video. Let's see here. And then one last thing, jokingly, I wanted to end on was, where is mixed reality going? And now this is really bad for me to say, because right now we do a bunch of installations for sports. We have a thing that lives inside Madison Square Garden for the Knicks. We've done some stuff for the NBA All-Star Game. We're doing some stuff with some baseball teams. But in the future, and I'm thinking like 20, 40, maybe 100 years down the road, I don't know if sports are going to exist the way we know them today. So I like to imagine this future of sports that's this combination of real life sports with mixed reality and gaming. I just see esports, to me, is not as exciting as being inside the video game, seeing people, big teams of people playing, whether they're killing zombies or they're playing sports. That to me is so much more exciting than seeing a group of guys doing a LAN party on Twitch. The idea of some really interactive kind of sports, esports, and mixed reality to me is the ceiling of where I think we can go. But so I just wanted to show you kind of a little bit about mixed reality, where it started, how it was really rough, and then Dario is going to come up here and he's going to show us what he's up to now, and it really just, it's going to blow your hair back. Dario? He's got his own mic.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Yeah. Thanks Finn for inviting me. Thank you, Austin. I'm here from New York. I'm a developer in developer relations for HTC. And my password is so just a quick show of hands. I'm assuming everyone's a developer, right? Unity developer? Okay, cool. I won't bore you. I'll have a lot of slides though. We'll stick to the slides mainly. Let's just start this presentation. So this is kind of based. This talks about kind of based on what I presented at SVDR. Hopefully, no one was at SVDR. There were a few. I added some more to this. But basically, I just want to cover how it works from a developer's perspective and a little bit of the history again. And this is, and basically how my message, I guess, I'm going to go through these points, but my main message is that you should really look into how it's implemented so that you can make your own implementation and not really rely too much on there's got to be support from the platform itself. Because a lot of what's missing is kind of a UI, a UX for the end user to use, and it could be customized to every application. And of course, there's performance considerations and so on. And I'll also be talking about these trackers. So basically, don't rely on the out of the box. It's not a slight to Valve. Don't rely on Valve time for an update to the Steam VR, their support for mixed reality. So I always like to mention in my talks mixed reality. I don't like the term, and recently at HTC I was talking to Colin, who coined the term for this, complaining to him that he shouldn't have done that. So because basically mixed reality for the academics in here. Back in '94, it really signified the whole continuum, virtual continuum, from reality all the way to virtual reality with augmented reality and augmented virtuality in between there. It's been misused, and of course, for commercial reasons, Microsoft and I guess magically that are using it when it's really just augmented reality. Anyway, enough said about that. Again, a little going through history again. So I think it's January 2016, which seems so long ago now, when we saw the first taste of what they like to call mixed reality in the form of fantastic contraption. And the amazing thing is, and talking to them recently, is that there's still only a few studios that have a customized implementation of mixed reality green screen as part of their apps. So again, it's because thanks to Valve, it's a very good implementation as far as concise and it gets the work done without you having to do anything. Everyone just completely relied on it. They didn't give a thought that maybe it'll make things easier for the user if we give it a little UI and little touches that go beyond just a minimal sandwich. So if you haven't really thought about how it works, if you're new to it and just basically you just try to use it out of the box. Basically, you're talking about what's behind the headset, what's in front of the headset, and that's about it so far as depth goes. So there's some certain scenarios, and I'll try to demo that, where things will pop in and out, depending whether it's in front of you or behind you. And that's unfortunate, because then it kind of takes you out of that of the experience, whereas something like this depth camera, and I'll get to it in a bit, will give you a per pixel depth information, so that it literally there's no popping in. It's not just something in front of you or behind you. You can go around objects at different depths. So this is what happens when you use the CVR Unity plugin out of the box. You get these quadrants. There's kind of like two requirements. You have a configuration file, and you must have a third controller. And of course, recently that's changed. Now you can use a Vive Tracker. And usually compositing it can be done in hardware or any suite of software. Most people, I like to use OBS myself. And basically you create your sandwich with the background, your green screen video, and then your foreground. There's a lot of guidelines. Kurt Gardner is one of the first ones to really document and promote, but of course, we're producing this slick mixed reality demos for Fantastic Contraption and Alchemy and so on. So that's kind of like the basis for a lot of people learning so far as what equipment to use, what he used. I'm mainly doing the lo-fi version, as you can see, more for developer exploring, for end users who just don't have the budget to do a slick video. All they want to do is go on Twitch. So that's my approach. HTC does have professional equipment and studios to do mixed reality videos at our offices. There's going to be a how-to video coming very soon. Look out for it on Vive.com. So I don't want to take away from that, because if you're really looking for what we use as far as a professional shoot, that how-to is coming. It's just not me. So the pain point. This is the pain point that everyone has when they try to do this, especially the first time. It's the trial and error of having to determine the offsets between the virtual camera and the real camera. So what I mean by that is, if I was to use a controller, and this is my camera, there's a center of the space. This is literally this point here. So you would be pointing into Z, and that's your origin. So that's where the virtual camera would be facing. So you got to align that to be exactly where the camera is. In this case, there's two cameras. I'm looking at I guess the left one looking at me, and this has to align exactly to where that camera is. So how do you do that? Well, you got to calculate offsets. That's why we have the XYZ offsets, rotation, XYZ rotation. So all that has to come into account for matching the real with the virtual. And of course, we have the actual field of view, vertical field of view of the camera itself, and so on. This is what was posted from Valve initially in the CVR community. What he commented out there is the actual matrix of the position of the camera. So you can actually use that information to remove the tracker. It's a fixed camera. You would only need to determine it once, and if you can keep it fixed for the rest of the session, you don't have to keep that. So that was a way out of having to have a third controller, actually. Now, there's a lot of tools for calculating FOV. I've tried them, and at one point we were going to release some documentation on doing it. But the problem is a lot of times you'll get different results, and you'll have to wind up averaging it. You may as well just stick to the one that the manufacturer gave you. Just make sure you get the right number. So a lot of people want to address the issue of that pain point, because it's a lot of trial and error of editing the file, saving it, running the app, testing it out all around the green screen room, and then continuing again. So there's a number of people who decide, well, I'm going to try to make little tools to make that a little easier. A lot of them are visually based and so on. Here's a popular one. I'm just going to quickly go through a number of these. Some of them are selling subscriptions on Steam to do this. I don't know why. Some of them just cost $2.99. This one's pretty easy. I would recommend that one if you want to have a simple way of doing it. There's other ones that are like this one from Intel. This is where I have to call out Timothy Porter. There you are. He's the guy behind this. Do you want to say a word or two about this?
Yeah, sure. So the way that it's set up, you can actually go ahead and see yourself in VR doing the calibration. So it's a little different than a lot of the other ones that are out there. The entire setup also has an initial, so it gives you a really good position when you're starting out. The only part that you're really going to have to go through to calibrate is the FOV. The reason why is there's no actual way to automatically, using just a single controller, calibrate the FOV unless you do something like computer vision or something like that. That was outside of the scope of what Intel requested us to go ahead and do. But it's a pretty fun little go through. You can actually go, if you Google Mr. Configurator in Intel, you'll go right up to their page and you get a whole breakdown of exactly how we did it, how we went through it, and then how to use it. So you can go download that now.
So thank you, Timothy. And like you mentioned, there's a number then that you'll be seeing yourself in the video trying to calibrate this. There's others where you're doing it all inside VR. And I would recommend watching each of these. You get a feel of what's out there. I still think it still requires some manual process. In the ideal world, it'll be totally automated. You would actually use the front-facing camera on the headset, and you just look there and you're done. Ideally, that would be the same way we do room setup. We're not there yet. But I encourage people to, if they really are interested in making tools for their fellow developers, take a look at it. There's a lot of opportunity there. So why hasn't this been addressed? Why do we have all these attempts and no real step from like Valve with a more advanced version or from HTC? To be honest, we have internal tools that we've used. Valve, I know, has publicly stated in some blog that they have a more advanced version. In fact, they show a photo where they have a ring of controllers on the floor. So I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're apparently the developers behind that did not want to release that code. But again, this is one of those things where generally you need to go through this pain point only once, because once you calculate those offsets. And you don't do what I'm doing here, so don't do what I do and just trying to use double-sided tape to put this up here or balance it up here. Don't do that. Definitely get a print a 3D bracket or something that's very, very sturdy. So that way, once you calculate those offsets and you have this mount, you don't have to ever do this again. So that's kind of why there's no incentive to do this, because it's a niche market, and on top of that, it's only paid for once. So yeah, typo. Saving the external camera configuration has been an issue, part of the trial and error issue. If you follow the Steam community on the thread where mixed reality was announced, and it's still pinned. You can actually find what a lot of people are contributing back, and in this case, they're contributing back some code so that you can actually dynamically change those numbers, and it'll save every time you make a change automatically. So that saves a lot of effort and not having to restart the app when you do a save for the configuration file. In fact, I think I have a tab to that open here somewhere. Yeah. So this is the only code you need to actually just get it so that you don't have to go do that painful trial and error of having to exit and enter VR all the time. And going back to where you have the quadrants, now I'm going to walk through some of the code, but think of how much you can overlay so far as having ability to change these values on the screen, whether it's on the game window or whether you're inside VR. So a lot of this can be easily done with a lot of these shared code. if you're in the business, if you're really serious about mixed reality, you can put together your own extension to what SteamVR gives you. So enter the Vive Tracker. We introduced it at the beginning of this year. Let me talk about what's different. So when we required the third controller, at the time there was nothing on the roadmap as far as a different device type. So these devices are differentiated by device type, where you have type controller and type tracker, I guess. So when we started sending these out to developers, I think Vive had to do a change to the SteamVR implementation of the mixed MR, because it would only recognize controllers. You can use this. And for those applications out there that already are using the existing implementation, that was a problem. So we actually had to share, I don't know if I have it here. Yeah, I'll show you. But basically, there's a tool that patches the firmware on the tracker so that it actually identifies as a controller. So you can continue using the third controller model of MR using older apps that are not upgrading quickly to the latest SteamVR plugin. I also want to highlight that we have several plugins. HTC Vive software has several plugins on the Unity store. If you don't know, one of them is the Vive Input utility, which is essentially giving you support for controllers, trackers, and specifically I'm talking about the tracker support, because one of the issues that you used to have also when you had your controllers is that it would matter which controller you turned on first sometimes, so you couldn't easily have a fixed assignment of, well, the device that I'm attaching to the camera is always going to be the same. Sometimes if I have a tracker here, for example, and for some reason I have several other trackers in the same space to do mocap or whatever, I want to make sure that these assignments are fixed, that the device ID number is not going to change over time, because that would be problematic to have to, to swap them and so forth. Now, generally they stay the same after you start SteamVR, but that's not guaranteed after you stop and launch it again. Plus, even if they did, if the scenario is that you want to replace them because out of battery, you're going to suffer again because the device ID is going to change. So, in our latest version of the input utility, this is the link to that firmware patch, so that you can still use older apps with this replacing the controller, not a problem. But as of 1.6, we allow the mapping of what we call Vive roles. It works on top of the existing device roles, in that we are more specific. We give you a tracker, separate tracker number, like tracker 1, tracker 2, tracker 3, or we have a body role where you can say feet, body, arms, and you can have different roles that are definitively assigned. And what happens is that you can, let me actually run that. Let me switch to here. So our Vive input utility is this plugin here. Again, it's available in the asset store right now. And one of the examples is called rule binding example. And again, I think it relates to the MR problem where you want to have a fixed device, especially if you have it attached to a camera, to stay the same. So what this does is this gives you the ability to, let me see if I can actually run this. It identifies, you get the serial number, under the covers, basically what it does is it takes the serial number of the device and creates a mapping it to the IDs. And then you can bind or unbind. Let's see if I can. There we go. Actually, look at this one. right? So you can save, you can load and save the different bindings. I'm losing track of this. I don't have one. You can see a listing of HDD, device 1, and so forth, but you can also see not just device roles. You can see, like I mentioned, body roles. You can have the right hand, left hand, right foot, left foot, so forth. Or you can have tracker roles, so tracker 1 through 13. And once you save the bindings, once you bind one and you save it, then you can just reload. It's a text file that we save for the binding, and you can have this as part of your settings in your application. And then once you save that file, you can just all it is a script that we load, that we provide, that you can actually load the settings in any scene you have. That solves that issue, which is, I think, fairly really important. And you don't get that out of the box with DVR. So that's why I'm recommending that you check out the Vive utility. And we have a lot of, in addition, we have the plugins as well to be open on GitHub. In addition to just the plugins, we have additional examples. I definitely recommend going to github.com/Vive-software if you haven't heard of Vive software before, and check out all the examples we have for trackers. What about Unreal 4? Any Unreal developers here? Have you done mixed reality yet? No. It's a challenge. But some developers have done it. And so this is a link to a really good, nice example. I'm not going to show the video, but I recommend check it out. It's obviously going to depend on performance issues. I think whenever I talk to Epic about it, they cite performance as being a real issue. They rather have you have a dedicated capture card or a separate PC and so forth. But there are options out there, and there's separate forks, of course, as you know, as a new developer, sometimes you'll have to build it. But there are a number of solutions out there that look promising. Part of the problem is, of course, the way the architecture is different, and just having the different camera angles is not as straightforward as it is in Unity. But I would try to understand as much as you can from the Unity implementation and exactly how it works to try to think of using these other solutions or to roll your own and not wait for official support. This is really important to get a mixed reality demo out there. It's become a checkbox. I forgot to mention this at the top. I think everyone realizes the importance of showing what VR could be to a non-VR world. So let's go through some code. Let's see what's involved with Valve's implementation. So I'm eventually going to show you how the depth camera works, which is completely different. You wouldn't use the quadrants at all. So what I'm going to do is I already have this cooked sample already set up. But basically, I took one of the examples for this camera, and let me just open that one. Save. They have this simple example where basically let me see if I can run this. Just to show you the little world they built. So it's like a little town, abandoned town. You'll see a gas station there. There's a number of boxes right there, so on. So I'm going to be standing like right in front of those boxes. So the first thing, of course, what you need to do and also I want to point out that I'm using the Vive input utility. And it works a little different from the standard Steam VR where you drag and drop the camera rig for supporting the camera and the controllers. We call it the Vive rig, and also support, in addition to the camera rig, it supports, I don't know if everyone can see that, so I'm going to try to zoom in. That better? So we have a vibrate, but it's essentially similar to the standard SteamVR way of doing things. You have a camera rig that's got the camera, the ears, the head, so forth. We have Vive controllers. Out of the box, we support everything from teleporting to grabbing things. It's pretty straightforward. It's a lot similar to a lot of other toolkits available. We have Vive Trackers, so you can add more. Out of the box, we have support for 3, but you can add more instances. So what we did because we wanted to support the existing way that SteamVR does MR is just to have the external camera hook, so that this way you can specify exactly what device is going to be used for your external camera, SteamVR's external camera. So this is the SteamVR render script, and this is our little hook that allows you to specify, in this case, I'm going to use the tracker role, tracker 1. Yeah, tracker 1. This is 2 and 3. This aside. So basically, after I turn this one on, it doesn't matter what order I turn them on, actually. I can turn this one on and then worry about turning on the controllers, which are already on, maybe not tracking, but it shouldn't matter. Once I turn that on and I have this hook specifying the Vive role, then it just passes the information like before to the SteamVR render script. The way it works, even without the specific Vive input utility stuff, is that for the camera, when you run the camera, again, this applies to even the SteamVR way of doing things with the camera rig. When you start running and it senses that you probably should have stopped running and added that. No, I didn't have to add anything because let's go back to external camera. Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone's able to see that. Unless, yeah, I could zoom out a little bit. Or not that much. All right. So I specify this, I turn it on, it's paired. So technically, when I run it, and assuming I have an external camera configuration file set up, it should start creating the quadrants. So let's try that. And the reason I'm looking here is because you'll see how things, when you run camera rig, this is part of SteamVR's code, it rearranges the order, of course. And it creates an instance of external camera, which has this SteamVR external camera script. So there's a total of 3 scripts involved here. And here's our quadrants. I should definitely zoom out. And here's our 4 quadrants. So what happens is you have your SteamVR instance that has the render script attached to it. It creates an instance of the external camera, which has the external camera script attached to it. And what was the code script? Go back to my slides. Oh, the prefab. SteamVR prefab. That one always gets instantiated whenever you use the SteamVR plugin on its own. It's not getting instantiated here. We're kind of circumventing that with our with our external camera hook. But essentially, if you look at most implementations, you'll see a SteamVR instance created. In fact, let me drag and drop that. In fact, you can actually drag and drop that into your scene with no ill effects, because it always creates an instance. It checks first to see if it's already created. If not, it creates it. Same thing applies to the external camera. If it doesn't have it already a defined external camera in your scene, it's going to actually just create one using the external camera prefab. And it's the SteamVR, let's go to SteamVR prefabs. You'll see, you're probably all familiar with camera rig. Status gives you status. You probably haven't really dealt with this unless you needed to. And I recommend you actually do bring it into your scene because it has features like pause game when the dashboard is on. And this is exactly where you can actually drag and drop your own external camera, change the definition with the name, the configuration file, and so forth. So without involving the Vive input utility, this is how you would do it. You need to bring this in here. This has the render script. The render script instantiates this external camera. If it's not specified, it creates one. And then the external camera, like we saw that was running, will in turn take care of all the depth itself. It holds whatever's in front and behind and creates these quadrants. In fact, if you want to look at all that code, I recommend looking at the external camera script. So again, just to go back, there's a SteamVR instance that has the render script, and the render script performs a lot of things. It actually takes care of the order of how things are rendered. The last thing it renders, if all the conditions are met, is the external camera. So I should probably show you that script first and just quickly walk through the different steps. So SteamVR, it's got the render script. Let's look at the render script. Don't worry about understanding all the details of what it's doing. It's just that I wanted to show you that there is a SteamVR external camera that gets created. Here, render external camera. So this is the method you have to look at. I don't know if everyone can see that, or should I zoom in? So after it deals with compositor and so forth, the last thing it does is render external camera. Sorry about it, keep scrolling. And I just wanted to point out an issue with it that I made a change in, let's see if I can find it, in Awake here. So this is where it takes the SteamVR external camera prefab, instantiates it, it sets up the external camera to use the right configuration file, it reads the configuration file, and moves on. I've commented out the check for, well, actually this is the way it is now. What I would recommend doing, so that you can stick your own external camera, and I bring that up for a reason, because I really think this is an issue with 5.4 and above in Unity, in that you should really break this statement into two parts, because if you don't, it's not going to really take your external camera. You want it to do the reading of the config file and processing it, regardless of whether it's instantiated or not. That's what essentially this rule change does. And the reason for that is because you can have an external camera that doesn't have to be based on the SteamVR camera. In fact, now, as we know, or may not know, in Unity, the default camera can handle virtual, assuming you have the virtual reality checkbox in your player settings, your camera, you should not have to use SteamVR's camera. Obviously, since most of us use the SteamVR plugin, we're still using it. But in the long term, a lot of these toolkits are going to disappear. Unity's plan, of course, as you know, is to have it under the covers, so you don't have to worry. A developer can just ideally write once, run everywhere. So to go back, you have the render script, create SteamVR's camera script, And then,
Hold on, and then line 307.
sorry?
Line 307, so that's that.
Also, you're gonna have an area that puts a bracket on 304.
That's it, right?
304, you gotta comment that bracket.
Oh, this one. I'll just delete it. I'll see this still runs. Nothing like live coding. Right, so that's the basic premise, that's the basic idea. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to continue on with the slides. You have your external camera, your CVR prefab that's got the render script. And then this happened back in October. I don't know if you remember, but Alchemy decided on their blog to surprise us all by showing us a totally different way of doing mixed reality, and that's using this specific Stereolabs camera, the Z camera, which handles depth by using two cameras, and it doesn't do it like many other depth cameras. Most depth cameras will have a depth sensor that does not work like this, because this is simply using RGB cameras to determine depth. There's pros and cons to that, but it performs quite well, and it gives you a lot of the fancy effects. You've probably all seen this video. In this specific screenshot, he's reaching over the cabinet, the file cabinet, which you couldn't really do that before. If you think about it, like I said before, things either are in front of you or behind you. In this case, you can actually go under the table, you can reach over things, you can put your arms around a sphere. That was one of my first steps, tests. And things like that just gives it an entirely different experience to it. It's more immersive. So like I said, the per pixel depth is a major benefit. You would think there's a performance hit, and there is, but it's really minimal because it uses a lot of low-level code. There's most of it's done under the covers. And it's in-app compositing, meaning you don't have to do any. You don't have to use OBS or do any post-processing. It doesn't even require an HMD. That's the nice thing about it. You can actually just, for demo purposes, just be inside VR. Maybe watch a screen out in the corner and just interact with your space and not have a headset on. Was that the case here? No, he had a headset there. And of course, you have multiple people in the play area. That's a big bonus. And then they also, subsequent updates, have added features like lighting effects, where the light actually affects not just the virtual world, but the person too, the real world. I totally recommend going to their website, checking out the videos. It's really impressive stuff. What else? So at the same time, they promise they're going to open this up to everyone, or at least have an SDK for developers to start using this. Like I mentioned before, this was back in October. They first announced it. Here we are in May. But the creators, so even though it was very clever, we have talented people there. The creators of the Z camera, Stereolabs, also have talented engineers there. They have been slowly also. Oh, I should probably back up. Everyone understands what a depth map is? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So for every pixel, you have a depth value. So this is, I guess, let me just move on. Depth, as I mentioned, there's a lot of, this is not new technology. This has been around for a long time. In fact, I used to give talks on depth cameras back when the HTC One M8 had two lenses and was able to do 3D stuff. It's been around. There's a lot of equipment that does it. A lot of competition out there. So I would recommend you look at the shootout, which really is a really in detail comparison chart. So recently, this past March, Z released a 2.0 SDK, and with this, you can finally do mixed reality, green screen mixed reality for the Vive and not have to worry too much about the painful points. There's still a painful point of, like I mentioned before, but that's only once. Once you have a mount, you have to worry about those values. But the fact that you don't have to composite, and here I am trying to demonstrate the different levels of depth that you wouldn't normally be able to do if you just use the quadrant-based behind and in front of HMD. And again, I'm not even wearing an HMD. So I'm going to try to do a demo of the camera now. Back to here. So to disable the quadrants way of doing things, because I want to keep this tracker on, I'm going to, this is where I disabled the camera hook, and I enable the Z green screen object, which is their camera. Again, this code is provided to you from Stereolab and their SDK examples. I'm going to enable that one. And let's give it a try. Camera on. Let's see, sometimes it goes to sleep. I'm going to try to plug it and unplug it, I guess. Start it again. It's hard to see if it's on. Let's see on. So the way that the green screen works is that there's a shader that handles screen. Oh, there we go. Yay. Obviously, it's looking for the green chroma key to do that, but one of the things that I've been requesting that they consider, and I'm not the only one, is to eliminate the green screen altogether. Because now that you know that you have the detail, the depth, in fact, that's why I placed those boxes right behind me, was to prove that technically you wouldn't need a green screen if you can just, at a certain depth, just allow your virtual world to appear. So one of the things they're currently working on is to provide that ability. They just need to clean up the edges a bit. So that's work in progress. They're actually also working on the lighting effect that you see at the Alchemy has. So that's pretty much how you can do mixed reality without worrying about all these outputs getting mixed, post-processing or separate video capture card and so forth. Let's see if I can make these grabbable. It's hard for me to see what I'm doing. Oh, one of the things you notice is I didn't calibrate, so the controllers are completely off. So that pain point, this is to illustrate that pain point still exists, and it's very painful. But once you calibrate, and again, you can try any of those tools that I mentioned before to help you, or you can do trial and error. So generally, sometimes I will try to do, if I want to avoid those tools and time, I can try to get a model of the camera in your virtual world and align that visually. That's another approach I don't think people have thought of. Somehow aligning that using some computer vision, maybe the front-facing camera can look at both of these and trying to determine, given the model of the camera, how to automatically set the offsets. So that's pretty much the demo. Is that perfect? Again, this is just investigating. This is not production studio quality at all. Let's see, where was I? So, like I said, part of my emphasis here is to start making you think about what you can do as far as giving back to the community, the writing tools. You can use the depth camera maybe to replace room scale. Again, there's so many uses for the depth camera. You can actually do photogrammetry type of capture and so on. And so I'd love to, over drinks later on, like start talking about ideas, what we can do together. There's some more information about the Vive Tracker at a developer site for the Vive Tracker. What people don't realize is that there's a lot of information there. There's an actual model of the tracker that you can download and use, plus our guide, our official tracker guide, with a lot of Unity examples as well. There's also some third-party bloggers that have contributed a lot to the documentation that we sort of failed at filling in all of the information. So some of these bloggers have done intensive work in getting the USB protocol working. Because in addition to, I should probably mention this, in addition to the USB that you can connect to a third-party accessory, you have these pogo pins on the tracker. So if you're a hardware developer or maker, you can actually use these pins to simulate things like the values of a touchpad, the trigger, the grips, and so forth. And you can add your own circuitry, or you can just attach this to your own custom accessory. In fact, you may have to, for some of these solutions, to get rid of the pain points. Because some of them, since they assumed you're using a third controller, were relying on you pressing the grips when you align it when you're doing the calibration. Assume that you're pressing buttons that don't exist on the tracker. So you could just short some of the right pins together to get that and add a little push button if you need to use one of those solutions. And here's some additional resources. And with that, I'm going to open up to Q&A.
I have a question on the depth image generated by the 2K camera. There was some pixelation.
Yeah, it's
on
very.
the images. Is that in the depth image or is that in the compositing?
So again, it's in-app compositing. So I'm not doing any compositing after. It's because it's an RGB depth sensor. A lot depends on lighting. And even this example is really poor lighting. You should be well lit at all angles. Again, I actually should go so we can go live in here. Yeah. So it's both the combination lighting, the fact that it's trying to do green screen. Instead of, I guess I could change the color to black.
I guess you say black shirt against a black background, and that's where it's missing up there underneath your eyes.
Right. But lighting becomes more important than ever for this depth camera.
But it does not have the issue with missed pixels that the laser ones do with shiny surfaces and all that. It works on all surfaces as long as there's contrast and RGB.
It should, yes.
So here the ambient light condition will be the optimum, right? You are talking about the lighting thing, right? So the ambient condition will be the optimum, right? To avoid this pixelation.
To avoid this pixelation, you're saying?
Yeah. So you just mentioned that it's happening due to the lighting, right? So.
Well, it's more than just that. Right now, I'm pushing its limits because it's trying to do the green screen removal on green to begin with. And I deliberately did this to see if I can get away with no green screen. But as you can see, it's an issue right there.
So why is that happening? Why is that part is not coming up?
I would need to profile that specifically. Again, this is not a pro setup. I would not recommend a laptop. And it's going to vary from application to application. I'm going to continue working closely with Stereolab to see what improvements can be done. And how it compares to Alchemy's solution, which uses the same camera. In their case, I think they're really going low level, and they've developed their own plugin. So it's really, you're comparing two different plugins. So they may have optimized a lot of what's being done in Unity to a lower level. Now, if you're a seasoned developer and you know how to write C++ Unity plugins, you can take a lot of the code here and just bring it lower to a lower level and improve the quality. And it's all, they have it on GitHub, so it's all open source as well. Any other questions?
There are folks that have done similar tricks with Connect.
Yes.
Or other.
Right.
So you expect this to improve not just with the optics, but algorithmically the
Yeah, like I said, this is just one way of doing a depth canvas. There's a lot of competition out there, and I recommend looking at that chart that compares them all to shootout. There's pros and cons to each. A big con to this is, again, the lighting situation.
The Z comes with a visualizer application that sort of takes the, instead of displaying on a plane like that does, it's sort of like
I can show you the visualization of the cloud.
So when you're talking, like, ideally I imagine you'd want to get that same visualization with the depth in 3D space just into a Unity scene. Would that be the kind of stuff you would need to do a C++ plugin for?
Yeah, let me just show you that the quality is a lot better when it's native code.
Okay.
So yes, you can definitely improve upon what the Unity plugin is doing. I think it's working.
I believe you can actually get this depth into a render surface in Unity as well. You'll have the depth available in a render surface.
Right, so I haven't even tested it with 2017 yet, so I'm sure there's going to be improvements.
Is it still in Unity?
I'm sorry?
It was still running in Unity when that was the issue.
I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if it was still in Unity, that's why you couldn't see the visualization.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I came back here, and yeah, it could have crashed. Yeah, the overlapping of it was still running in Unity, and I launched that Explorer too soon. Demo crash. But trust me, when you get one of these, definitely look at all the native code and examples as well, not just the Unity stuff. You'll see there's a dramatic performance increase with the native.
So is that how you would get the game engine lighting to be reactive? Is that you would map to a plane in Unity?
Yeah.
Can you do that with the Z SDK currently?
Not currently. It's forthcoming. It's doable that way. Yes, that's right. If you want to roll your own, I think it should be doable.
Could you render it to a terrain in Unity and convert the depth information to the actual height in the terrain?
That'd be slow to do in real time. You want to just have pixel shader that does it in image space and takes the normal and lights that.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you know if the new base stations are going to allow for any other newer types of cameras to be used for this stuff? Should we be looking at a newer camera a little later down the line because of the newer base stations, or should we be still looking for similar things to Z?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking. The base stations are not cameras?
Well, there's the today I think was the launch of there's this new update about the HTK and how they're going to be switching to the two base stations, and so I didn't know if some of the optical sync issues or some of the optical sync stuff, because of you don't need that for the base stations anymore. Should we be looking for, or would it be, will that open new avenues to different cameras and things like that? You know?
I think the cameras and the base station interference are minimal anyway. It depends on the cameras. If they're using infrared, yeah, I can see some interference. But yes, that would definitely really solve that issue so far as having had that line of sight since. Yeah.
How does this compare with the other technologies when the sensors are on the headset and the SLAM technologies where the headset is localizing you with respect to 3D models rather than the camera is output? How do you compare these two? And would the stuff that you would build here apply there?
With the
See what
stuff
I mean?
you build here apply there.
What you're building, for the example that you would build.
Yeah, this is specific to this camera. So this SDK wouldn't be exactly portable to other cameras. Again, the RGB versus infrared is going to present different issues.
But I'm saying mainly about the view, about the cameras being on the headset and using SLAM technology.
So you're talking about inside-out tracking?
Yes.
Yeah, that's different from mixed reality. That's a whole other discussion. But we're coming out with the Vive standalone, which will be a different solution.
But basically, I'm trying. Maybe my question is also: do you think these technologies will survive, like what you're showing, these cameras and headsets versus the inside-out tracking? What is
just to see what's happened in the last year? I think a lot of this will survive. We'll see something different in a year's time. Like I said, even a lot of the plugins may just go away because we'll be supported in Unity natively, hopefully. So that's actually something that, thanks for reminding me, I'll get on Unity's case to consider support for mixed reality in general, for this mixed reality.
That's why I was asking if
No,
what you build.
Yeah, I suspect things will change, but you want to be ahead of the curve, so I definitely recommend getting this camera to start playing around with this.
So you touched on this at the beginning. It's kind of a silly question, but do you have a term you use to describe this particular kind of reality that you'd like to coin right now in front of all of us?
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up over beers with everyone tonight. In general, I don't even like having to say VR, AR, XR, all that terminology. I like to call it immersive technologies. And I know like Clay Baver from Google did a blog that suggested we start using immersive computing. That was his recommendation. So we'll see.
All right. Star.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, Dario. That was awesome. Deep dive. We will be touching on this again in the future as more of these tools come out, and our next some of the things we're wanting to do here at Capital Factory is to set up more mixed reality streaming and some live stuff going on. Let's steal your HDMI real quick somewhere. We're really trying to get something going here where we'll have likely at all times 8 VR headsets to be able to be open to members and stuff at any time. There are a whole bunch of different things available already and coming in the very near future. This is HoloCap. So this is a Connect 2 for Windows, and the guy wrote an algorithm to smooth out that jitter on the edge that you were seeing there. And if you look, that's just a white background. That's not a green screen. I mean, it's a white screen, but typically white doesn't do fantastic. It's okay, but it's not nearly as good as green. And that's an interesting little thing. Let me see here. Close this out. I had last year at about, I guess, May or March. Let's see here. If I go Alt. Unmute it. So that's me DJing in the Wave VR early last year. And this was at Originator Studios. Actually, is Derek still here?
Yeah.
Derek, actually, would you like to talk a little bit about Originator and what y'all are doing, as well as your VR cave that you've started up? Come on up.
Yeah, thanks, Vin. So yeah, Originator, we're on East 7th Street. It's a video production, photography, soundstage. Last year, we started doing a lot of VR work, so we configured it with built-in lighthouses and 2 built-in systems. And then we have a stabilized camera rig with the Vive Tracker, sort of plug and play, ready to go, mixed reality, so people can come in and shoot trailers, and the cyc wall and lighting is push a switch, it's on, start rolling, and that kind of thing. And so it's been great. We've been trying to stay on top of the latest mixed reality developments, which has been hard. But the Vive Tracker has been huge. Having that wireless means you can put a camera on a stabilizer and be basically wire-free and moving around. And anyway, we have a lot of, if you need any advice, we've done a lot of tests and kind of figured out a lot of things, and we feel like we have a pretty good system now. And then like Finn mentioned, we also started the VR arcade at Originator Studios. So that's what the stage looks like. And you don't see it in this picture, but the lighthouses are mounted on the grid, all the cables are hidden and such, so and we have it configured where basically with the flip of a switch, we have the 2 systems that roll in, and it's you can bring a group of people. We have 2 Vives set up right next to each other, projectors on the wall, and you can do multiplayer VR, which is super cool. So yeah, we're trying to make the most of the space, and we're right East 7th and Weberville. So look us up, and anytime we office out of there too. And Finn will tell you we're always looking for cool stuff to do, and just anything y'all are working on, we'd love to hear it, because it's just it's a play space, so it's cool. But anyway, thanks.
Sure.
Thanks,
Derek. Yeah, they've been pretty awesome. We were able to cut some footage there, of course, but also it was really interesting earlier last year to try to dive into this and just dig in and try to make sense of mixed reality or mixed reality. I also feel like that's the hoverboard term of XR. It's like that's not a hoverboard. It's a scooter. The term mixed reality, it can be used for augmented reality with track space. It can be used for this mixture of footage. But typically, because of the popularity of what it's done for VR advertising, it's something definitely not to be overlooked. Like Dario was saying, everybody, if you're making something that you're trying to make successful, it's worth spending some time and setting it up and cutting some footage. And even if it's not even, it turns a mediocre game into something very interesting to watch. Because maybe it's not the best game for. It's not gonna make you $1 million on Steam. There's only going to be a handful, even by the end of 2018, that clear $1 million for VR. However, cutting some mixed reality footage and sharing that on your social media, that's going to do a lot for you as a developer. And so some of the things that I've been wanting to do and pushing for it, and Chris Mahoney here has been trying to do, is just pushing it back to the studio, showing up to places like Originator and just volunteering my time to set up this stuff and trying to work with developers and setting up this stuff and getting your home office set up or getting your office down here or up north or wherever it is set up to film mixed reality. So if you're trying to do this stuff and you have aspirations to do this stuff, reach out. Let's make it happen. We want Austin to continue to be like the leading hub, and we're definitely in strong competition. LA has huge events, but it's typically more enthusiasts than developer. Austin has a really, really, really strong developer portal here. So, the fact that you're out here on a rainy night is proof of that. So thanks again for everybody coming out. If you have ideas of what you'd like to see, we're going to be covering the Editor VR, the new Unity Editor VR tools, and extending the Editor VR tools in the near future, as well as we're going to be covering some other really cool stuff, and of course, new headsets, new hardware, and it's just been really cool. We're planning to have possibly this summer the next AR VR Jamapalooza, which will be a pretty cool like hackathon focused on both AR and VR games and enterprise. And we'll probably be doing it in this space, and we'll just take off the entire area here. We have Unite is happening here in Austin this year, so if you don't have a ticket yet, get it on the early bird pricing. And it's going to be the only Unite in North America this year. Usually it's 2 Unites in North America every year. It's only once, and it's in October. And I'm throwing the after party, so it's going to be cool. So it's going to be pretty sweet. I might just take this whole base floor and the second floor of the Omni, and we might just throw like a crazy huge party. But yeah, so thank you so much. If there's something you want to see, please reach out. If you took pictures, please share them on the page and let us know what you think. And if you'd like to see more, if you'd like to exhibit your game, please ring the bell. So thank you so much.
Don't get me wrong, but their terms of service or something. So I gotta apply the term development stuff
Thanks, man. I did.
Alright, is that the get out light? I would like that. Yeah. It's starting to get there. I wrote out
It's really just, you don't want to keep on customizing it until there's a robust self-customization.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I love that. I have absolutely spoken.
Hey everybody, if y'all could go ahead and take it out into the foyer here, so they can go ahead and pull all these chairs apart, but just go ahead and make your way, and y'all can keep on having the conversation out there, please. Thank you.
They are going to take two. You can't help them to take two. They're like, ooh, free something. They have two. I can't help it. Like, whenever I have an opportunity to get something for free, I usually ask for two. I'm like, oh, really? This is free? Could I have an extra one for something I want to buy the developer? Like, but not if it means that other people can't have it. And like, there's not scary, you know?
Clearly not everybody's working a large use.
No, we're not.
They've never worked at a big studio. We had that good set up for the catering. That was nice for a little while.
What's that?
Where y'all had that
Every day, yeah.
arrangement with the
Yeah, we bring food every day for. We had a guy, his chef, would come on the fourth floor. Actually, 140 people.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool. Okay, good. I'll hang you.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, you're right. I can't find my keys.
Yeah.
It's like having some ivory tower with Mr. Burns or some shit. I was looking for someone to do Who's that designer in Sector 17?
That is almost fun, isn't it? I like it.
Haven't had like a fob and other keys or they have the little tracker. Yeah. They're pretty cheap. Go by the info booth next time you're at any conference. You're like, hey, you have those trackers? They'll give you like 15 of them. Oh yeah, no, they just give them to us. I'm like, oh, do it. So I get 10 of them, and my brother-in-law runs a camera company that do weddings and stuff like that, and his equipment walks off occasionally. And so before, you know, oh yeah, those are still It does allow
people have to have the app in order to, people nearby need to have the app.
But it's pretty long range.
The problem is, if nobody within range of it has the app installed, then you're fucked. So if you don't know that, yeah, it's a needs a critical. Whoever installs it, they have to have the app installed. I mean, all it takes is one person to do it. But without that, it's fucked.
For him, it's not too bad because he's at a wedding. He's anywhere before he's leaving. He's just like, whoop. Oh, they're doing in the kitchen.
What's it called?
Square. Well, they have that, and then they also have the ones that are on your phone.
Yeah, they actually just have their phone in the background all the time. And they're like, oh, he's sitting really here. And he's like, yeah. And then the other one pulls out, oh, let me see what my guy is.
We can run your location. Location services.
Oh, yeah.
And you can turn it off.
Yeah. Well, if you're on iOS.
Well, Android, you can look in your background. You can have a background who has, you can see who has permissions to your location.
Oh, I was terrified. That's the first time I turned it on. I saw all the
Hey guys, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You gotta go home and
Oh, yeah.